Hello everyone and welcome back. We are going to cover in this presentation understanding consumer behavior. So this specific presentation in this session focuses on how people make decisions about what to buy, when they're going to buy it, and why they're going to buy it. And we're going to talk about the process of consumer behavior because it's important for marketers. It helps them not only to develop the products, but really craft persuasive messages and deliver better customer experiences. So what I want you to do is take just a second and think about the last time you bought a new pair of shoes. So think back, when's the last time you bought a new pair of shoes? Maybe it was a pair of tennis shoes, maybe it was a pair of heels or sandals, boots. What made you choose that brand or that style of shoe? Was it a recommendation? Was there a sale going on? Was there something you saw on social media? Did you have an event to go to? Those choices didn't happen by accident. You followed a process to decide what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy it, and where you're going to buy it. And we're going to talk more about that today. So first, we're going to talk about the buying process. So consumers generally follow 5 steps when they're making a purchase. The first step is need recognition. Something triggers that realization that they want or need something. Like say you notice your headphones are broken. So you need to get new headphones if you're going to be able to use them again. Or get them repaired, but most likely buy a new pair. Second, an information search. So you might remember a brand you liked or read online reviews about. Maybe you saw somebody post about some pair of headphones that you considered trying out, but yours worked perfectly fine at the time. Third step in the process is evaluating alternatives. So this is when you might compare different brands of headphones based on the features, based on the price. There's typically ways to compare the different brands. Sometimes even retailers have that ability on their online shop where you can choose a couple and kind of look at, here are the different things, the different characteristics of them, price being one of them, features, all of that kind of stuff. The next point in the buying process is you actually make a decision and you purchase whatever that item is. So you choose which one you want from all of those available and you buy the product. And then the final step in the process is that post-purchase behavior. So you're going to reflect on the purchase and whether that met your expectations or not. So did those headphones sound as great as they said they would? Were they comfortable? This stage in the process can impact your future buying behavior, whether you buy that product again or not, if something happens with what you have, if you buy from that company or not, whether you recommend or not, and those types of things. So next we're going to move into functional versus psychological needs. So needs can be categorized into these 2 types, the functional and psychological. So our functional needs are practical, like you need a winter coat to stay warm. These kinds of things solve practical problems. Psychological needs are tied more to that emotional side and our personal identity. So that same coat might also be from a designer brand that makes you feel stylish or successful. Another example is a smartwatch. A smartwatch can track your fitness, which is a functional need, but if it's an Apple Watch and you're drawn to its brand image, you're also satisfying that psychological need. When making a decision, consumers conduct searches to reduce their uncertainty. And this can be an internal search, relying on your own knowledge or memory, or it can be an external search, like asking friends, watching YouTube reviews, or browsing websites. The amount of your search depends on your perceived risk. So if the product is expensive, if it's risky, or if it's very visible, say like a prom dress, people are probably going to search a little bit more. And if you think about some of the larger kinds of purchases, people see risk around those, especially a home, a car, a camper, different things like that. So they are probably going to spend a little bit more time on some of those bigger ones. So different types of risk could be performance risk. Is it going to work as expected? Financial risk. Is it going to be worth the cost? Social risk is what will others think about it. Safety risk is, could it harm me or others? And psychological risk is, will I feel good about this choice? Someone with an internal locus of control is going to believe they can make good decisions and is probably going to research a bit more. Whereas somebody who has that external locus of control may rely on luck or others' opinions. So I want you to take just a minute here and think about, for these different pieces listed on here, your internal search versus your external search, your locus of control, and your types of risk. When you've made a purchase, maybe in the past few weeks or so, where have you leveraged some of these, and what have you looked at related to these? All right, next we're going to talk about another step in the buying process is when you evaluate alternatives. So typically after you gather information, you're going to compare what are your options. First, you're going to start probably with a bigger group of potential items that you could buy. And then you're going to start to narrow that down. So let's say in this example, you're buying cereal. So you may recall Cheerios, Frosted Flakes, Kashi. You look at their health benefits, the taste, the price, and the branding. And if you're using a compensatory decision rule, a product can make up for one weakness with strengths in other areas. So if the taste is really, really good, maybe you're willing to pay the price if it's more expensive. With a non-compensatory rule, any brand that fails one of those criteria, like if it has too much sugar, you may eliminate it no matter what is involved. Let's also talk about purchase and choice. So at this point in the process, let's say the consumer's ready to buy. But the way that products are presented, called choice architecture, can really influence that decision. Defaults are typically preset options, like if you have an online checkout that adds a warranty unless you uncheck it, and you have to be aware of those types of things. And then nudges are small design elements that guide our choices, like healthy snacks that are placed at eye level. If you think about nudges, can be those things that are at the checkout and kind of nudging you to purchase those before you check out. Impulse buying happens when we make unplanned purchases. Typically, they're influenced by how the store is laid out, and there's a lot of psychology around how grocery stores and other retail stores are laid out. What do the sales signs say? The visually, what are they representing? The colors that are used. And like I mentioned, those last minute suggestions at checkout, we could impulsively pick something up because it's right there. Let's go into that last step in the buying process is post-purchase outcomes. So after buying, you're going to evaluate whether you're satisfied or not. And this typically occurs when the product you're going to be satisfied when the product meets or exceeds expectations. Marketers can encourage this by setting realistic promises. They can offer support and they can follow up. Sometimes buyers experience cognitive dissonance, which is where they feel doubt after a big or risky purchase, like choosing a new laptop, and they might worry, did I pick the right one? Marketers can help to reduce this by offering return policies. So sometimes with risky decisions, you have like 3 days to reverse it. They might send thank you messages, reassurance, having different things like that. And when a customer is happy, they're more likely to become loyal and make repeat purchases and start to spread positive word of mouth. And even as an entrepreneur myself, I have heard one of your quickest next customers is going to be somebody who has purchased from you before. Companies like Amazon and other stores, especially grocery stores, they'll use loyalty programs. There may be personalized emails to keep customers coming back. I know with grocery stores like Meijer and Kroger, they'll send customized coupons and things like that as well. So let's chat just a little bit about some factors that influence the decision process. There can be a lot of different factors that impact that decision. Some psychological factors include motivation, like if you think back of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, attitudes, so whatever thoughts, feelings, or actions we have, perception, how we're interpreting that information, and lifestyle, how we spend time and money. There's also social factors. This includes things like family, reference groups like friends or celebrities, and a broader culture. So a teenager might buy a certain brand of sneakers because their peers wear them. And then lastly, here are situational factors. And this includes in the purchase environment things like lighting, music, or even your mood. So for an example, a cheerful mood might make you more open to new products. I can tell you I went into a bookstore recently and it was a newer location. I went in there, I was looking around at books, but I wanted to leave right away because there was something with the light that was bothering me. And I don't know if it was just that instance or it would have been the same next time I go in there, but I didn't want to buy anything. I left right away because of that. And not that that's going to affect everybody, but that had something to do with whether I was going to purchase or not. So not every decision is going to involve the same level of thought. So you may have thought, okay, it's very different. If I'm going to buy a pack of gum or maybe headphones or a book versus a car or a house or something larger than that. The level of involvement is going to affect how thoroughly we evaluate a purchase. So extended problem solving is when there's going to be high involvement. So this could be buying a car or a house. It's going to require a lot of research. Limited problem solving is going to involve moderate involvement. This could be buying furniture or clothes, and it might include some comparison. Impulse buying is really low involvement. This could be things like grabbing a snack or a magazine on the go. And then habitual decision making is very low involvement. So this can be like picking up the same brand of milk every week with no thought about it. Here it gives you toothpaste as another thing. You're always getting the same thing or something very similar. So understanding this really helps marketers to tailor what their strategies are going to be. Because, for example, low involvement products, the brands might focus more on visibility and convenience rather than detailed comparisons. And if you think with this habitual one, everybody's going to buy a toilet paper, right? So how can we as a marketer for that toilet paper make it stand out? Well, one of the ways is the visual and what we put on the packaging, right? Another is how many times are you seeing toilet paper brands in the middle of the aisle? How many times are you seeing them on the end of the aisle, putting them in your face? And that's a marketing strategy there.